Hey friends, welcome back to Acre Homestead and welcome back to my kitchen. Today, as you can see, I have a ton of stuff already out. We are going to be doing a big, massive bulk freezer cooking day. It's been a couple months, I think it's been 3 or 4 months since I've done one, and we are plumb out of freezer meals. I've been sorely missing it. It's a huge part of a way that my husband and I can eat homemade meals every single day of the week while working full time, having a huge garden, and doing YouTube. And so today I want to tell you what we're going to be making. We're going to be making a bunch of really delicious recipes. All the recipes that I'm going to be using today will be linked down in the description box below. So don't worry about trying to write anything down. I'll have them all down there for you so that you can go check them out if you're interested in doing so. We're not only going to be making actual recipes that are going to be going in the freezer that I can pull out and cook, I'm also going to be doing some bulk cooking too as well, because I'm going to be having the oven going, I'm going to be in the kitchen, I might as well have some stuff going that'll make my life easier in the coming weeks and months. So I'm going to go ahead and cook quite a bit of bacon in the oven because it's tomato season coming up. I'm already harvesting cherry tomatoes. I don't have any big slicers, but those are starting to blush, so very soon I'm going to be having slicer tomatoes. And I want to be able to have convenient BLTs, so a way to do that is cook up a bunch of bacon, throw it in the freezer, and then you only have to microwave it for a few seconds and it's ready to go for you anytime you want it. I'm also going to bulk cook a bunch of sausage because I'm going to be making a bunch of pizza dough today and a bunch of pie crusts. The pie crusts are for quiche and the pizza dough obviously for pizza. And so by having not only the bacon in the freezer but also the sausage, I'll be able to throw that on my pizzas and in my quiche, and that will be delicious. It'll make a very convenient, fast, easy, delicious meal. So I already mentioned we're gonna make a bunch of pizza crust and a bunch of pie crust. We're gonna make a bunch of meatballs. The meatballs are gonna be for 2 different meals. I'm gonna do meatballs in the freezer so that I can have spaghetti and meatballs, and then also I wanna do meatball sub sandwiches, and so that's what that's for. We're gonna do Moroccan kebabs. It's a really delicious Moroccan style beef that I like to serve with lentils and rice, and we will be making that to go in the freezer. Now that the garden is in full swing and I'm getting so much fresh produce out of the garden, I want to get a bunch more of that marinated chicken in the freezer, because having the marinated chicken in the freezer and cooking it up and then just cooking up a bunch of fresh vegetables makes a really delicious, a very quick and easy dinner. So we're going to do a garlic honey chicken, we're going to do a pesto ranch chicken, we are going to do a balsamic marinated chicken. So I have those 3 chicken recipes. I might throw in another one of the honey mustard chickens that I did in the last freezer cooking meal because it was so good, but it just depends on how much chicken I have thawed. And then the actual full meals that we're gonna have put together are gonna be, I'm gonna make some enchiladas. I'm gonna do a Parmesan chicken that is so good. It's actually the first meal I cooked for my husband when we were dating. Chicken tetrazzini? One of you guys mentioned in one of my last freezer cooking meals that you like to make that recipe, and so I thought it sounded really good, and so I went ahead and added that to this list today. And then we're gonna do jambalaya. We're getting a little bit of a late start today. Normally I like to get up really early and do this, but I was tired and I actually slept in for the first time in a long time this morning. And so it's about noon, so it's actually 12:30. So we're gonna be in the kitchen for a while and it's gonna be super fun. I'm excited to actually get this going, but I just needed a little bit of a slow morning before we got started. I haven't really done that much to prep for it. Right there, I peeled this morning a ton of garlic. You didn't need to watch me peel a bunch of garlic and chop it up, so I got that done. And then right there, right next to it, I went ahead and ground up a bunch of breadcrumbs. Just anytime I have bread that's looking a little stale, I throw it in the freezer and then I grind it up for breadcrumbs when I'm gonna be making recipes. I kind of made a little bit of a list of how we're gonna be doing things because I wanna make sure I'm using my time efficiently in the kitchen. The first thing we need to do is start the red sauce for the meatballs and the spaghetti meatballs, because that's probably gonna be on the stove almost the entire time we're in the kitchen. So let's go ahead and get started with that. This pot is for the pasta sauce. This pot is gonna be for the sausage. I'm also gonna get the oven heated for the bacon because we're gonna cook the bacon in the oven. Put some olive oil in the bottom of this pan and just a little bit of olive oil over here for the sausage. I'm gonna toast some red pepper flakes in the olive oil. While I'm waiting for my red pepper flakes to toast, I went ahead and got the sausage in the pan. And I wanted to just tell you a few things I do before I do one of these big freezer meal cooking days. I did a big grocery shopping haul yesterday for this. If you want to watch that, I'll leave it up here and down in the description box below. But I don't put everything away because I know I'm going to be using it. So I just put away the refrigerator stuff and the rest of it I leave out instead of putting it away and having to get it back out. The next thing I like to do is make sure I have an empty dishwasher. That way, as I'm cooking, I can put stuff right in the dishwasher. I also like to have out a garbage can so that I can just throw stuff away easily as I'm going. And I also make sure all my meat is thawed and ready to go. So last night there was some meat in the freezer that needed to come out, so I got that out and it's thawing and ready to go for us now. This is some homegrown garlic I peeled and chopped this morning. These are homegrown onions that I peeled and sliced and put in the freezer, and I just put that into this pasta sauce. Now that I have that started on the stove, we're gonna go ahead and get the bacon in the oven. The doorbell just rang, and there's a pretty exciting package coming. Look what just came, my freeze dryer. So when this thing weighs like 250 pounds. When my husband get home, we will be able to figure out where we're gonna put that. So that's super exciting. So for now, let's get back in the kitchen and get cooking. Interested in the freeze dryer I got, I will leave it down in the description box and you can go check it out if you'd like. I'm super excited about this. We are going to be doing videos on how to set it up, how to use it, what should and shouldn't be freeze dried, and I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to be super fun. The first round of bacon is done. I'm going to drain this grease. I actually like my bacon nice and crispy, so this is perfect. The second pan isn't quite done, but in the meantime, these onions are ready. I just have some Malbec in the fridge, just some wine that I didn't really like the taste of. So anytime I have wine that I open and I'm like, I don't know about that, I throw it in the fridge and I use it for cooking. We're gonna let this reduce down. While I was waiting for these onions to cook, I went ahead and got out the stuff that I need to make the meatballs. And then also, I did throw in about 1.5 pounds of Italian sausage in here. This was breakfast sausage at first. So this will be a mixture of Italian and breakfast sausage for the quiche and for the pizza. I have some really big zucchinis here. I'm gonna get these shredded up and I'm gonna add the shredded zucchini to a ton of the stuff we're gonna be cooking. So let's go ahead and get this shredded up real quick. This is just a way that I like to use up some of this beautiful garden fresh produce, add a little bulk to my pasta sauce, and add a little bit of extra nutrition, and it's just delicious. We're gonna go ahead and let this cook down while I get the rest of the bacon out of the oven, and I wanna get that draining on a paper towel, and I wanna get that bacon grease saved up. Sausage is done, strain it. So this zucchini has cooked down quite a bit, so I think it's time to go ahead and add the tomato sauce. This is a bunch of homegrown basil I harvested yesterday. I'm just gonna throw all that basil in here. These are homegrown tomatoes, and we're gonna get them in here. One of my goals this gardening season is to actually can tomato sauce, so I don't have to do this anytime I want a tomato sauce recipe, like spaghetti sauce or something. I've only ever canned like just pureed tomatoes because I always wanted the ability to do with it as I wanted to do with it. But last year I canned pizza sauce for the first time, and that was a game changer, just to be able to open my pizza sauce and go. If I could just open my spaghetti sauce and not have to make this anytime I want spaghetti, that would be such a time saver. So that is on the list of things to can this year, but for now, we have to make it every time we want to use it. I'm also gonna throw in some homegrown oregano and some homegrown parsley and some homemade seasoned salt. It just dawned on me that this is 100% homegrown except for those red pepper flakes and the olive oil and the salt and pepper, which is pretty exciting. That's my goal, is to try to make as much stuff homegrown as possible. And I can't believe that this pot accomplishes that goal. That is super incredible. So we're just gonna let this, oh, I guess I didn't grow the wine either. But we're just gonna let this cook, and this is probably gonna cook on the stove for a couple hours, and we're just gonna let it cook down. So let's get going on the meatballs. In this bowl, I have 3 pounds of ground beef and I have 3 pounds of Italian sausage. I'm gonna put that much zucchini in there. The zucchini is definitely something you don't have to add if you don't want to, but I figure why not bulk it up, use it up. That's some homegrown garlic. I'm putting about 2 cups of breadcrumbs. Let's put maybe 1 egg per pound. So let's put 6 eggs in here. This might be a double yolker. Let's see. Can you see here? Nope, just one. You know what? I'm gonna put 2 extra eggs because I put those zucchinis in there just to be safe. I also have a pot right here on the floor for my veggie scraps and my eggshells. This is gonna go to my chickens at the end of the day. Let me go wash my hands and we'll put the spices in. We have some Parmesan here. I put probably 3/4 of that. That was 10 ounces. Normally I like to shred my own, but they didn't have it when I did my Walmart pickup and this was the substitute. Some homegrown parsley, homegrown basil. That smells so good. Homegrown oregano, some red pepper flakes, and some homemade seasoned salt. You could just use regular salt. Remember, there's 6 pounds of meat in here, plus all the other additives. So I probably put 2 tablespoons of seasoned salt in there. I just put in a little bit more Parmesan. I didn't think that was quite enough. Now we just get in there and mix. What better way than to use your hands? So the mixture was feeling a little bit wet, so I went ahead and added the rest of the breadcrumbs. So I'll have to grind up some more breadcrumbs for the Moroccan meatballs. So I'm still rolling meatballs, but I had to take a break for a second to get the bacon out of the oven. And what I want to do is I already had the oven preheated and I have these pans that have a little bit of bacon grease. I reserved a little bit of bacon grease on each of these cookie sheets, and I'm taking the chicken breast and we're going to get the chicken breast cooked up for the different chicken recipes we're making. And I realized I forgot to tell you, we're making a Thai recipe as well. We're doing masumam curry and I need chicken for that. And then I need chicken for the enchiladas and our pasta dish. All right, I just washed my hands and now let's get some seasoned salt on these. Now that my stove is free, I'm gonna go ahead and get some water on to boil for the pasta. So we have chicken in the oven, we have our pasta sauce cooking down, we have water on to boil. We've completed making the sausage for the pizzas and for the quiche that I'll be making over the next few months. Just have to finish rolling out these meatballs, and then I'm gonna get the sausage and the bacon put up to go in the freezer. So we have the final meatballs here rolled up. I'm gonna go ahead and put these in the freezer just like this, and then we'll get them in freezer bags. And then we're gonna come back in and we're gonna get the Moroccan meatballs. Well, they're not really, you'll see. We're gonna get the Moroccan beef meatballs made up. All right, so I can't find part of my food processor, and I used all those breadcrumbs and I don't have any more, so I just blitzed up in the blender some oats, because you can use oats as a replacement for breadcrumbs. So in here I have 3, oh, he just found that my husband's home. He got home early from work today. He just found the piece I was looking for. He was in the laundry room.
In the laundry room, of course.
Where it would be. I have 4.5 pounds of grass-fed beef in here, and I'm probably gonna put 2.5 cups of these blitzed oats. I'm doing it in smaller batches because I don't want to turn it into flour. I don't want to turn it into oat flour. So let me get a little bit more oats in here. So yesterday I went and picked a ton of herbs, and I picked mint, parsley, and basil. And I'm going through and just picking the stems off the parsley and basil. I should have probably done this yesterday, but I didn't. I'm not worried about some of the stems. I'm gonna leave those. The most important thing is getting the mint stems out. This is all gonna go in the Moroccan meatballs. I'm gonna put a couple handfuls of the zucchini in there. I'm just gonna squeeze out any of the extra liquid. I have ginger, cumin, red pepper flakes, seasoned salt, coriander, garlic, eggs. I wanted to put turmeric in here, but I can't seem to find my turmeric. And we're gonna mix this up. Just added some salt to our pasta water. So I have the recipe for the pasta that we're doing, and it's tetrazzini that we're making. And it's traditionally made with linguine. I don't have linguine, but I have this pot, but I have spaghetti, so we're gonna make it with spaghetti. I have 3 pounds of spaghetti we're gonna get in here. Now, one trick when you're making freezer meals and you're cooking a pasta dish is to really undercook your pasta, because you're gonna cook it again when you go to cook it to eat it. So this pasta says 11 minutes, so we'll probably only cook it for about 6 or 7. If you guys are interested in seeing how I actually prepare my freezer meals when I go to cook them, when we're gonna actually eat them, consider subscribing, because I show those in my vlogs and my day in the life. So I show you what sides and things like that we cook with them. I get a comment a lot that you see a lot of meat in these freezer meals, and that's because I'm typically making the main dish, and then I make the side dishes when we go to eat them. So I have a huge garden, and I'm not sure which produce is actually gonna be coming in at that time. So I just use the freezer meals as kind of the main component of the meal, and then I make whatever veggie happens to be coming in from the garden, or if it's not garden season, whatever veggie I have on hand, and that's what we use as a side dish. I was hoping for a little bit more browning. That's the reason I decided to cook them in the oven as opposed to the Instapot, because I wanted kind of more brown chicken, but this is what we got, so this is what it is. So I just strained it, and I'm gonna add a little bit of butter to this, and I left a little bit of the water in here so that it doesn't all stick together. I'm a little bit nervous that this is gonna stick together because I've never used this type of pasta in a freezer meal. And so we're just gonna add a little bit more butter than I probably normally would, just because I wanna kind of guarantee myself no stickage. All right, so I just got some more chicken in the oven. Shape these Moroccan patties. That's really what I should call them, because I don't shape them in a ball shape. I like to grab a handful, I push them down, and I shape them actually kind of in an oval shape like this. And because these are flat, we're gonna be able to freeze them in layers. So I got a few layers of parchment here, and we're just gonna layer them up on here, freeze them, and then we'll put them in some freezer bags. The best way to eat these is actually with a dish that's lentils and rice and caramelized onions. I don't know the actual name of it, but it's so good. And then I usually make a carrot salad that is in one of my day in the life videos, and if you wanna watch that, it's right up here. So I got 5 packages of about 2 cups of sausage in each one of these that I can use for the pizza or for quiche. So we're gonna get all this in the freezer. I wanna get going on the chicken tetrazzini on the stove and the curry on the stove. So what that means is I need to get that pasta sauce off the stove. So I have tasted this for seasoning. This is our pasta sauce. And it's perfect. Well, I did adjust it a little bit, so now it's perfect. So I'm gonna divvy up this pasta sauce between these 3 pans. And what I'm gonna do is then put the meatballs on the top, and I'll actually cook this in the oven. And when I go to serve it, I'll either cook up some pasta and we'll serve it over pasta, or I'll serve it on a hoagie bun and we'll have meatball subs. The reason I'm doing it this way is because I don't wanna put this in a freezer bag, because I am trying to reduce as much plastic use as possible. So I've been collecting these 9x13 Pyrex pans at Goodwill, and this will allow this sauce to cool down much faster. We're gonna go ahead and get started on the chicken tetrazzini and the curry. So in here I have some coconut milk, and ideally you'd use shallots, but I don't have shallots. These are homegrown onions, so we're just gonna add those in there. And I've gotta get the mushrooms chopped up for this. One of the mushrooms I bought came chopped, but the other one was a substitution and it didn't come chopped. We're gonna put 2 pounds of mushrooms in here. I got these washed up and the ones chopped that needed to be chopped. And then when you're cooking mushrooms, it is good to get a little bit of salt on them so that it helps them sweat faster. So this is just a little bit of seasoned salt we'll put on there. So this here is ready to go for the next step, the curry here. We've got our onions nice and caramelized. We're gonna put 2 of the red curry paste in here because we're gonna start toasting the curry. When you're making curries, one of the biggest keys to making them taste the best is to toast the spices, because most of the flavoring agents in your spices are actually fat soluble, and that's why you wanna saute them in the fat. Then we're gonna put some of this roasted red chili paste in here as well. We're actually gonna put that whole jar in there. This curry you could easily make vegetarian and just add your potatoes and carrots and things like that, but I will add chicken to this. This is some ginger, coriander, some cumin, red pepper flakes, some cinnamon, and some nutmeg. I need nutmeg for both the curry and the tetrazzini, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add that to the tetrazzini as well. I'm opening 6 cans of coconut milk. So we have our coconut milk in here, and now we're gonna add some peanut butter. This is what gives it kind of that mushroom flavor, is the peanut butter in here. This would be good with lime juice. I don't have lime juice, I have lemon juice, so we're gonna just put a little bit of lemon juice in there. And we're gonna let this just kind of cook down and cook together. I just added the rest of the zucchini to each one of these. It was about 2 handfuls each. Those are gonna cook down and you won't even notice that that was put in there. I just realized I forgot to add garlic to this, so I'm gonna add some garlic powder to that in just a minute. But in the meantime, I'm gonna get some garlic in here for the pasta. This is almost ready for the next step. And then I got all the chicken cut up for the couple recipes we need the chicken for. The next part is we're actually gonna make our roux, so I'm gonna add flour to this. We're basically making cream of mushroom soup here. Cream of mushroom soups or cream of chicken is basically just fat, flour, and then whatever flavoring you want. You could use cream, you could use stock, depending on if you're wanting to make, if you want to make like a dairy cream of something like cream of celery, you would add cream, or cream of mushroom, you'd add cream or milk, versus if you were making like a cream of chicken, you would add chicken stock. What you want to do is just cook that raw flour flavor out of there, and this curry is coming along beautifully. I did add whole wheat flour because I have whole wheat flour and that was in my container, and that will just add a nice nuttiness to this, but you could use white flour if you wanted, or if you want to make it gluten-free, you could use a tapioca starch or a cornstarch or something like that. We're going to add a little bit of sugar into the curry. If you had palm sugar, that would be the most traditional for curry, but I don't have that, I just have cane sugar, so we just added that. And then now let's go ahead and add the next thing to this. We need to add some white wine. I'm starting to get some fond on the bottom of this pot, so I'm going to try to get that up as much as possible. That's flavor. I turned the curry way down, and I'm just letting this kind of simmer on the stove here. So now we need to add some chicken stock and some milk. And we're going to let this just blend together and thicken up, and this is our sauce. And I forgot to add a little bit of soy sauce to the curry. I just chopped up some fresh parsley. We're waiting for the sauces to cook down so that we can mix it with the pasta, and I already added the chicken to the pasta. So in the meantime, let's get the pizza dough going. I have 6 cups of water in here. We're gonna add some sugar. This is pretty warm tap water. So I'm quadrupling this batch. I added sugar, and this now here is some yeast. Our chicken tetrazzini sauce is done here. I did add some Parmesan cheese to this, and it's nice and thick and beautiful. So we're gonna add it to the pasta. I'm just using this canning pot because it's my biggest pot here, and stir in the pasta. So if I had breadcrumbs, I would put breadcrumbs on the top of these, but I don't. So we're just gonna top with Parmesan cheese. Now that we're done with these, let's move over here because it looks like our yeast is ready. It's proofed up nicely, so I know it's alive. I know it's alive because I use this all the time. I'm gonna add some olive oil. I have some whole wheat flour here. You don't have to use whole wheat. I like to do a mixture of both. I usually do about 1/3 whole wheat flour to the rest white flour. These are my favorite containers because you can get a whole 1 cup scoop in there and you're not having to fight a small mouthed container. I love those things. We're just gonna mix this up. Obviously I can't use a whisk this whole time. I really wanna invest in one of those Danish whisks. Down here I have my 5-gallon bucket of flour. I buy all my dry goods in bulk and I keep them in these containers in my cupboards, but then I keep a big 5-gallon bucket in my pantry. If you wanna watch a pantry video, there'll be one up here, and I forgot how much I added in here. I do most of my bread baking by sight or by feel more. I'm doing about a quadruple batch, so I'm planning for about 8 pizza crusts. I forgot to add salt, but if you don't add salt to your pizza dough, if you don't add salt to your bread, it's gonna taste like nothing. So when you have a bunch of flour in your hands, the best way to get it off is actually to take some more flour and rub it like this instead of trying to wash it off with water. See how much easier that is? All we're gonna do is portion it up, put it in a freezer bag, and then take it out the night before we wanna use it, and it will thaw in the fridge. And then before you use it, take it out of the fridge, let it kind of come up to room temperature. So basically while you're chopping your vegetables, maybe shredding your cheese or whatever it might be, we won't have to cook our meat because we already got that cooked. Your bread will rise and kind of come up to room temperature, and it will be perfect for use. We're just gonna oil up each dough ball and put it in a Ziploc bag. So one way I do feel better about using Ziploc bags is I try to reuse them whenever possible. These 2 are reused Ziploc bags because they were in good condition. So there we have it. We have 4 dough balls, which will make a total of 8 pizzas. After 5 o'clock, and I am gonna have a glass of wine while I keep cooking. I have here the chicken that is for the Parmesan chicken. I just seasoned it with some seasoned salt, and I have a pan here with some avocado oil so that it could get nice and hot. I have 2 9x13 pans here that I sprinkled Parmesan cheese on the bottom of the pan, and we're gonna get these in here and we're gonna get them browning while I continue to clean up, because this is gonna take a little bit of time to get all this browned. Have the little bit of fat that's left in here from cooking the chicken, and I'm going to add just a little bit more butter, and we're going to create a roux. Roux is just butter and flour. So this roux is toasty brown and ready for the next step. This is just tons of flavor in here. We're going to add some milk. While that sauce is thickening up, let's go ahead and get some marinated chicken going. I have 6 bags here of chicken. The first 2 bags we're gonna do a pesto ranch. This is homemade pesto and homemade ranch powder. We're gonna get going right in this first 2. It does not have to be homemade pesto and homemade ranch powder. If you don't have that, that's fine. Go ahead and use store-bought. I do have recipes if you're interested in how to make either of these. They'll be down in the description box, those videos. And that was it for the first marinade. I'm just gonna mix this up and then get as much air out of there as possible. I think the best way to cook this is gonna be on the Traeger, or in the oven would be really good too, on broil, and get these are chicken thighs. Get these chicken thighs nice and browned. In these 2 bags, we're gonna go ahead and do some honey ginger chicken. So I have some honey here we're gonna put in each one of these bags. I have some avocado oil here. We're gonna put some of this here. I thought I had fresh ginger, but I don't, so we're gonna use powdered ginger here. A little bit of gochugaru. This is Korean red pepper flakes. If you don't have this, just use regular red pepper flakes or leave it out. I love gochugaru because it's a sweet chili. It's not spicy at all. Gives you a little bit of warmth, but not really spice. And we're just gonna put a splash of soy sauce in here, not too much. When I make my chicken marinades, I like to fold the bag over like this so that when I put the chicken in the bag, it kind of leaves the yuck on the outside. So when I go to close it, I can just fold it up and I can keep my hands clean and not get all chickeny. All right, our last and final marinade here is gonna be a balsamic chicken. We're gonna put a good amount of black pepper in here. We're gonna put some avocado oil, balsamic vinegar. I'm thinking this chicken on the Traeger on a salad would just be so good. This is lemon basil from my garden. And a little bit of oregano. Since I have some honey out, I'm just gonna add 1 tablespoon of honey to each one of these. And just like that, in about 10 minutes, we got 6 more main course meals ready. They're marinated, and all we'll have to do is cook them up. This sauce has thickened up really nicely. I just added some black pepper. I just added some Swiss cheese and black pepper to this, and we're gonna mix this in. Now all we do is just pour this beautiful sauce over the chicken. Oh, shoot. And all over the counter. Darn it. So I definitely made a little bit too much sauce, but that's okay. That's better than not enough sauce. The next step is supposed to be putting breadcrumbs on the top and Parmesan cheese, but I am out of breadcrumbs, so I'm gonna do that when I actually bake them. The way you serve this is you actually bake it in the oven, you get the top all crispy, you get it all bubbly, you cook the chicken completely through, and then you serve this over egg noodles. I was just thinking if you wanted to make this keto, you could serve it over cauliflower or broccoli or green beans or something like that, which is actually what we probably will do. We're not keto, obviously. If you see what I just cooked, we're not keto. But I have so many green beans and so many vegetables coming out of the garden right now that this I think would be really good served over top of that. And here we have it. We have 28 meals here that are 100% from scratch. Plus I pre-cooked some things that are gonna make some future meals, not including these, easier for me. Now I decided to wait on the enchiladas because I'm tired and this felt like enough food for me to prep today. I also didn't make those pie crusts. You guys have seen me make my pie crust before, so I figured I'm gonna do that tomorrow when I'm rested. So I have my curry here. I have it in 2 different dishes. I just put them in glass dishes. How I'm gonna cook this is I'll probably just warm it up in the oven because it's completely cooked, and I'll cook a bunch of veggies to go along with it. Whatever's growing in the garden, I'll just throw in here and we'll serve this over rice. I have the meatballs here. These meatballs are basically frozen and I just plop them on the red sauce. I will cook these in the oven as well, and by leaving the tops without red sauce on it, they're gonna brown up really nicely. And then I'll be able to either cook up some pasta or we're gonna have some meatball subs with this. I might top with cheese, I might not, we'll see how it goes. And then I have my bacon here, and I use the paper towels as dividers between the bacon that I used that absorb the grease, so I tried to use those paper towels in 2 ways. I have my Moroccan patties here. I serve these with rice and lentils and caramelized onions and veggies, and they're super delicious. And maybe some tzatziki sauce now that the cucumbers are coming in, making fresh tzatziki sauce, delicious. I've got my marinated chickens here, my sausage, I have some of the pasta. So now that these are cooled completely and or some of them are frozen like the meatballs, I'm gonna get them wrapped up. I'm gonna wrap them in foil 2 times and then I'm just gonna pop them in the freezer. I am gonna mark what they are and the date because I won't remember, and so I need to know that. I don't wrap them in plastic wrap because I don't really worry about freezer burn. My goal is to go through these freezer meals within the next month or 2, and so I don't really have to worry about freezer burn so much. And my goal is to try to reduce waste, and so if I can reduce using that plastic wrap, I would like to. And that's one reason why I am going to these Pyrex dishes, is so that I can get away from those tinfoil pans. I just want to say a huge thank you for hanging out with me in my kitchen again today. I enjoy having you guys in my kitchen. I hope this was helpful. If this was enjoyable or helpful for you, please give it a thumbs up. If you know anybody that would enjoy this, please consider sharing it with them. If you're new around here and you want to watch more of my videos, some will pop up right here and you can go enjoy those in the meantime before another video comes out. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you next time. Thank you guys so much again for hanging out with me. I appreciate every single one of you. I appreciate every single one of your comments, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.